Hello there, viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever of those applies to you at this current point in time. Today, we're going to be working on this 2012 Nissan SUV Xterra. I believe it's equipped with the 4-liter V6, and she has approximately 93,903 miles on the odometer. Customer states that the vehicle has an airbag warning indicator. They also said it's got a ABS warning indicator, but that's actually the traction control light. And they also had stated that the horn is inoperative. So we are going to bring this thing into the shop. Lauren! Ew, Lauren, we just caught you hacking a loogie on the internet there. What is that?
It's a bite of a rotten apple.
Oh no!
And I spit it out.
Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's disgusting, dude.
And I have really low blood sugar.
That's worse than drinking a beer with a cigarette butt in the bottom. Oh my god. Oh, that's so nasty. You okay? Go.
I'm really hungry and I can't eat.
How about that apple? Is that one any good?
I don't know.
Nah, they say one. Let me see it. One. Yeah, that one feels squishy too. Yeah. No, that one's good.
Right?
Yeah, that one's a good apple. You can have that one.
Right.
Yeah, so the one bad apple didn't ruin the bunch just yet. Is that one okay?
It's good.
All right, cool. Good, good, good. Anyway, where we were, the horn doesn't work. I got an apple in my mouth now. The horn doesn't work. The airbag light's on. Track control lights on. There was some other stuff going on with this truck. We ended up replacing all 4 of the TPMS sensors earlier. The TPMS warning indicators light was still on. I still have food in my mouth. I'm a horrible host here. Anyway, we're gonna move this thing over into the shop over there in that 3rd stall, and I'm gonna try to diagnose what's going on with this. All right, let's get this bad boy up on the rack right here. I don't have a spotter, so we're just gonna rely on my chronometer measurements here to make sure we don't drive off the rack. Keeping the tire parallel to the edge of the ramp right here. There we go. Good to go. Let's turn on some AC while we're in here. It's a little warm. So I've got the scan tool connected here. AC's on. You know, years ago when I worked back at the retail store, I would bring cars in and I would do diags, just similar to this, in the shop with the scan tool or whatever. And I would have the vehicle running with the AC blowing. And back in the day, there was a lot of trolls on the internet because everybody was like stuck in their house and they didn't have anything to do. So they would come into the channel comments and they would criticize me because I'm wasting customers' fuel by sitting inside of their car with the AC on. And that never made any sense to me, and I never really addressed the topic. But I was thinking about that just a second ago, and it occurred to me, which one would you rather have? If you have your car in the shop, would you rather save 3 or 4 cents in fuel by not running the AC, or would you rather have a stranger that you don't know sitting in your car sweating all over everything? I would prefer to spend a couple dollars or cents or some loose change or whatever in fuel cost and lose a wee little bit of fuel so the AC can run, versus having somebody else's musk in my seats or in my console thing. The worst one is when you have arm sweat and you put it on someone's door and it leaves a bunch of arm sweat on the door. That's the nasty one right there. So I think I would prefer that we did not install arm sweat inside of people's interiors. That's just my thing. So to me it was common sense, but to, I guess, some uninitiated folks out there in the ether of the interwebs, they decided that I was a bad technician for wasting customers' fuel. What do you guys think about that particular topic? Let me know in the comment section down below. So while you guys are typing away, the scan tool over here is going to do its code scan business. We're basically going to ping every module inside of the vehicle, and any DTCs that are stored in said modules are going to appear on our code list right here. All right, a couple minutes later, it looks like the code scan's complete. The ECM has no codes in it. TCM has no codes. Our ABS module, that's the track control. That's got a C1111 pump motor circuit fault. It also has a C1163 steering angle sensor fault. That's the one in the column right here. So the steering angle sensor is not picking up. The airbag module has 2 codes in it. Driver airbag module open, current. So that's the deployment module right here. That's the actual bag. It's saying that the airbag module has an open on the circuit, so the circuit's not connected. So this airbag right here is not connected to its computer controller. Driver airbag module open, that's history, so it's been open, it's been closed. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The body control module has 4 codes in it, 2 for low tire pressure sensor. That one is for Florida. There's no data in Florida. See that? C1708, Florida. Got it. And C1710, no data for the right rear. So none of the sensors were working. We have rectified that because we replaced sensors and the light is gone. We're repeating tire pressure sensor codes right here. And I think that's it for the list. So we've got a code for an airbag, got a code for an ABS pump, steering wheel angle sensor, and then the TPMS sensors. So let's see what's up with the horn real quick. I don't hear any of the relays clicking, and obviously we don't hear a horn. So we either have 2 horns that have failed, we have a relay that's not relaying, damaged wiring, or the switch is not working. That's on our possibilities here. I'm gonna go into the body control module and we're gonna look at some data regarding the horn real quick. Does it have keyless entry? Yes, it does. I think it did. Yeah, there's a fob right there, it's got it. So let's go into data. There should be a pin in here for when you push the horn button, the BCM is recognizing that the horn has been requested by the driver. So let's try to find the horn switch. So we have air conditioner switch, seat belts, oil pressure switch, scrolling. Oh, there's a menu. We have horn and horn security. Okay, let's go into horn real quick. What I'm trying to find is the body control data. So when I push this horn button, I want to see if this button is telling the body control module to actuate the horn relay, which will then actuate the horns. So we don't have any data here, but we have a menu, horn on. Oh, okay. Okay, hear that? So the body control module is capable of actuating the physical horn. Let's go into horn security. See what that one says. Something similar, horn security on. Okay, horn doesn't sound that great, it's a little raspy. But the body control module is commanding it to work, but I need to find the one for the button here. Okay, so I am not finding the menu list in there that will tell me whether or not the BCM is recognizing that I'm depressing the horn button or not. I can't seem to find it. Maybe my scan tool doesn't show that data. So here's what I'm thinking. I believe that since we've identified that the ECM has identified that this airbag in the steering wheel is not connected, we also have a suspected horn button malfunction, and I think, oh, the steering angle sensor, which is also located in the column here. I believe we have an issue with the, they call them the clock spring. That's basically the electrical circuit device that allows connection to be made from the column into the steering wheel. Now the reason there has to be a device there is the steering wheel rotates as we drive around. Well, we can't have just a bunch of wires in there connecting everything, because those wires will get twisted up and then they will work harden and then they will break. So we have these devices where we have movable contacts that can create electrical contact between the moving piece and the stationary piece. That way we can have things like horn buttons and airbags and radio control buttons and all this, paddle shifters, all kinds of cool stuff. So what I want to do is inspect this clock spring inside of here and see if that's where our fault lies. We do not have a tilt wheel, I don't think. Yeah, we do. Okay. Yeah, wheel tilts up. So let's pull all this bezeling and stuff off of here. We'll pull the airbag unit out and take a look at the clock spring assembly behind the steering wheel and see if that is going to be our primary issue here. So down here in the bottom of this bezel, you should be finding some Phillips head screws. I believe they're Phillips's. Either they're Phillips's or Torx. We're going to pull this bezel apart, and I probably need to look in ALLDATA and see how to get the airbag out of this unit on the front here at the steering wheel. There's usually some holes in the side of it, and you'll put like a pick inside of the hole and depress the lever, and that'll allow these to pop off. But I don't see that being the situation right here. I imagine I've got to pull the bezel off and then poke it from the back. So let's go ahead and just get this thing stripped down. The screw came out, but it's still in the hole. There it is. Got it right there. Yeah, plastic screw. I mean, this isn't plastic, but the threads are cut to go into plastic. I need to get out a longer screwdriver to get that other bolt in there. That one was recessed kind of deep, like it's like way up here. There she is. Okay, so I'm gonna angle this back down, and these two clamshell halves of this bezel business should just like pop apart. There's there's little tabs. You guys can't see anything. There's little tabs in there that hold the two pieces together. We just kind of give it a couple little tugs and they should pop apart. What we don't do is go in there with pry bars and start prying on things. That's how you scratch up the plastic. And nobody likes scratched up plastic. Okay. You can go there. And then the bottom one, we'll tilt this wheel back up. And this guy should pop out like so. I may have to pull off this knee bolster here as well. Probably. Oops. No, none of the clips are broken. This is good. Put you up there. So I'm trying to figure out how to get this airbag horn button off of here, and I've got the borescope out. If you guys look right there, see that piece of metal? That piece of metal is located inside of that little hole right there. See that hole right there? That piece of metal is in there, and that metal is a retainer clip that I have to depress upwards from through that hole to release the two tabs on either side of this button airbag right here so I can lift the thing out. So I need to go in there with a little screwdriver thing and push on that piece of tab material until it releases. This ought to be kind of fun. Okay, so I'm gonna take a screwdriver. Now the instructions say don't use a screwdriver, but I'm gonna use one anyway. Everybody's here watching. Right about there, I think, is the metal piece. Give it a push. Ah, yep. I think I got it. The airbag thing has moved a little bit. I think it's coming out. All right, it's released. So now, since we're getting into the airbag, and now is the part for the read to not happen, pause on the read. I'm gonna shut it down, disconnect the power supply, let it all power down, and then we're safe to remove the airbag thing right here. I mean, I take that kind of lightly because I've had thousands of these apart and they don't faze me, but there is actual real danger in manipulating airbag components, and if you don't do it right, you could really, really hurt yourself. I'm gonna disconnect real quick this horn button because that is definitely holding me up a little bit here. Let's just go in there and pop that guy off. That's just the connector for the horn. You know, I wonder if I ground this out if the horn will go off. No, because clock spring's back here. Never mind, I'm silly. Let's take this connector out right here as well. This is also a horn button connector. There we go. This is connecting, I think, the steering wheel buttons to the clock spring, which then connect it to the column. Okay, so with the successful powering down of the vehicle's electron system, we can get the retainer clips and then the connectors off of the back of this airbag. So we're gonna pry up these little black guys right here and then get behind the clip and just remove it like so. Now you see they're color coded. We can't get them wrong because there's actually 2 deployment circuits in here for redundancy. I think that's how it goes. We got 2 pins on this one, 2 pins on that one. So when an airbag event is requested, I think it'll try to deploy both deployment loops, and that should successfully deploy the safety mechanism of the airbag. Anyway, with this thing out of the way, now we need a, looks like a 19 millimeter. Hey Troy, will you grab me a 19 socket deep well and the 3/8 impact? Or you know, do it 1/2 inch. These are pretty heavy duty.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna grab me a tool real quick. We're gonna pull this center nut off of the steering wheel, and then the wheel itself should just pop off. Behind that is our affected component. We can see some of it right back here. See that little black thing behind the metal thing with the 2 airbag wires coming out of it? That is our suspected assembly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull that out. We're either gonna find it's physically, visibly damaged, in which case we don't have to worry about it, or if it looks okay, we're gonna have to get out a meter and check resistance of all the individual circuits to see if there is in fact an open circuit. Look, I was right. It was 19 after all. Unclicks. Do not lose this nut. Ever. Here, Troy, hang on to that gun for me. This thing should just pop right off of here. So I'm gonna get behind it with my knees and my arms here and just kind of give it some wiggle tug action. Yeah. Some of them pop right off, some of them don't. This one did. And you gotta be careful too. When you do that, keep your arms straight, shoulders locked in, and elbows locked in, because if you do it loosely, the recoil, like what you guys just saw, the recoil of that thing letting go, you could yank it back too far and then yank the airbag wires out of the clock spring. And if we find that that clock spring wasn't the issue, or yeah, if that wasn't the issue, then we damaged it during disassembly and then we'd have to replace it. So steering wheel goes off to the side. We're all done with that right now. And it appears this is a whole one big assembly right here. Okay, so there's a screw here and another right here that appears to hold this assembly in position on the column. So we're gonna pull those guys out right now. Yeah, we're gonna remove this, bring it to the bench, and probably have to prove it out with the meter. Okay, that's 2 screws. And on the back, some kind of a clip. There it is. Okay, so we're not connected. However, the wires on this are hanging me up. There's not much extra play here for wire space. We have finicky little Nissan components. I probably should have disconnected this thing first. There we go. And then the bottom, there's several more. We have airbag, signals and lights, and I don't know what those are for. Let's go ahead and get these guys disconnected. Need 2 pry drivers. Depress the little thing. Slide connector out. There we go. Some finesses. Press the little thing. It's not coming out.
I didn't know if everything just came with that one GM plug that we all know and love.
Oh, the GM weather pack. It'd be fantastic.
Be beautiful.
It really would be. That would be an improvement on the function of society. Let's get the meter out and try to find which circuit is not circuiting. We know it's going to be one of the airbag circuits, so what we do is we connect to each one of these 4, and then on the back side we just find the pins. It's probably in this connector here. Just make sure we have continuity and good resistance between these 4 and whichever the corresponding 4 are inside of here. If we have one that is not making connection, then we know at that point that there is an open circuit inside of this assembly, and this would be the faulty issue. So, to the bench with us. Let's go. Okie doke, so I've got the multimeter here, and we have it set for resistance, and I'm turning on the continuity alarm. The continuity alarm is basically just gonna beep at us every time the positive lead makes connection with the negative lead, right here. So we're testing our equipment. When we have continuity alarm, it'll also give us a resistance value. So these leads are making 0.3, 0.2 ohms of resistance, okay? That's fairly standard. So now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna connect an alligator clip lead to the negative side. And I'm going I have little wire lead adapters for such things, but in this particular case with these super small tiny pins, I don't have one. So I had to make one out of a paper clip. So I basically took a paper clip, stripped it down to the bare metal. It's one of those coated clips. We're gonna clip it on to our negative lead and then retest our equipment. We have continuity. And look at that, the resistance went up some too. 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 ohms. So we have found extra resistance in the paper clip and in this wire lead. That's inconsequential. I just felt like talking about that just to make the point. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this paper clip. Over here in the clock spring, we're going to pin each one of these connections right here. There's 4 connections to the airbag, 2 connectors with 2 circuits in each one. On the back side, with our ground side connected to the airbag circuit, we're going to probe with our positive all of the pins on the back of this unit to see if we have connection between the airbag connector and the vehicle's wiring harness that's on the steering column. So once it beeps at us, then we will know we have connection and then we can move on. Okay, there we go. This one is connected to that pin inside the hole and we're at 0.6 ohms resistance. That's fantastic. So we're going to move over to our next circuit and repeat. There it is, 0.6 ohms yet again. So the yellow connector has 2 verified good circuits going through the clock spring assembly. Let's go to the orange one. Orange connector, there's 0.6 ohms. Now that's the same pin that I had on one of the yellow ones, so that's probably our ground circuit. Let's go to the next one over here. We got nothing. Nothing. Check these others. Nothing. And it's not the ones on the front. So we have just verified now that this pin on the orange connector for the airbag is not making connection with its corresponding pin on the other side. Now I don't know which one that is, we didn't look it up. I just tested all of them since they're right here, but there is no connection between this side and this side, which means that our open circuit that our DTC told us about is caused by a fault inside of this component here. We need to replace this clock spring assembly that will complete the circuit repair for the airbag. Now I'm assuming at this point that the horn circuit is also failing inside of this module. Probably the steering angle sensor circuit as well, I think. No Chinesium available as a replacement. We had to get genuine Nissan parts, which I'm not opposed to, but they come with a price tag. Let me tell you what, this thing was like more than 500 bucks. This little dealio right here. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, we have a replacement unit. Nissan had it in stock, which tells me that this is a high failure rate component if the dealership has 10-year-old, 12-year-old, whoa, loud noise, 13-year-old car parts still in stock on the shelf. That's high failure rate business. So it appears, yeah, we're gonna have the whole shebang here, both the multifunction switches, the clock spring. I'm assuming, wrong, what is this? Okay. There's no steering angle sensor in here. I was hoping this came with an SAS and it does not. So that changes things because I would have ordered one. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this SAS out. We're going to install it on the new unit real quick and plug it all in. And before we reassemble it, I'm gonna power the vehicle back on and we're gonna see if we still have that steering angle sensor code problem. We didn't look into that earlier, but I do not want to put this all back together and then find out we have to take it back apart to get a new SAS. Yeah, let's take this guy out. Okay. I need to clock this properly. I think it goes I rotated it some ever so slightly. I think that's how she's gonna go. Which means these tabs here have been rotated, so those are gonna slide into these notches here. Maybe. Possibly. We're almost there. It's not quite lined up just yet. Little tab. The tab over here is not going in. Yeah, a little bit of fiddling, we got it. So let me drop these screws back in. I'm going to assume, actually I shouldn't be assuming anything because this SAS is independent of the clock spring on it, because that's the connector. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it does run through there, I don't know. But we'll put the bolts back in, plug it in, and find out. If I've got to order one more piece, then it is what it is, and we just roll with the punches, I guess. Maybe I'm being too gingerly with it. I separated them again, and they don't. I'm just gonna push harder. Yeah, there, okay. I'm being a wimp about it. There. What was that? That was a sneeze? That was a very, very interesting sneeze you just created there. Interesting sneeze.
I sneeze. I got 8 different fonts of sneezing.
8 fonts of sneezes. I like that. That's cute. Okay, so that guy's on. See this plastic thing right here? That's to keep this from spinning around while it's in packaging. So what we're going to do, I'm going to power it back out. We don't need to hook up the airbag, I don't think, because steering angle sensor should be connected at this point. I believe that was just horn and steering wheel controls, maybe. Let me see here. There's only 2 wires in there, isn't there? 2 wires and a horn. So those 2 wires, those are all the cruise control units, and then the horn, that's a single circuit there. Okay. Yeah, let me go, let's hook the battery back up real quick, and we'll power the vehicle back on and then check for that steering angle sensor code. If we have no SAS, then the steering angle sensor that's in there can stay, and I won't pull it back apart. Power that back up. Bzz. Okay, back inside. We're keyed on. Save some electrons here. Let's pull everything back up. Okay. Let's back it out. I'm going to clear the codes out of it and then start it and then recheck. Clear all codes read by code scan. That's going to ping every module in the vehicle. It's going to erase any DTCs in all modules. So ABS, we're doing that, airbag, engine, TCM, etc. We'll give this thing a couple minutes to run through, then we'll restart it and recheck it. Now the airbag codes are still going to be there, and there's probably going to be more airbag codes because that unit is not connected. A few moments later, and all DTCs have been cleared out. So we're going to key this unit off, key it on, restarting the engine. We're going to do a code scan one more time on it. Again, it's going to ping all modules. Automatic speed control device switch. Okay, so we got a code for the cruise control, which is disconnected. Nothing in the TCM. We still have a track light on right there. Let it do its thing here. It's going to take its sweet old time. And there's all the driver airbag module codes too. I'm a little salty over the SAS sensor, man. Let me plug some more stuff in just to make sure that that's accurate. I find it odd that 2 things have failed at the same time, and I'm pretty sure I didn't misdiagnose it. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it back off. Tell you what, I'm gonna screw this on because I am gonna put the steering wheel back on for the time being to plug it all in. I just did a check on that steering angle sensor. That's another 500 bucks. So it's like $1,000 for 2 plastic pieces. Yeah, the fun stuff. Let's screw this thing back in real quick, like 2 Phillipses. I'll lock it down. There we go. Nice and stable. Quiet. Taking the steering wheel here, I'm going to feed through the 2 connectors for the airbag. Let's pull the little locker tab thing off of there. I believe this is master splined, right? Nope, it goes on however you want. Hope I got it right. I may have to pull this back off and reclock the steering wheel. Oh, no, 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 no. Look, there's a little line etched into the front of that. You guys see it? There's a little line carved into it, and that's the vertical line of the steering shaft. So looks like I'm 1 notch off. No, that's as close as it's gonna get. Okay. Yeah, we'll just go with that for right now. That's fine. Screw that guy in. I guess if I need to take this off again, I'll just take it back apart if we're gonna do that SAS. This fella needs his ride back. I think today, actually. We didn't plan on 2 parts. Circuit connected. Second circuit connected. Good to go. And then our horn connection. Okay, the horn works. So I partially got it right, I suppose. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna repeat my clearing out procedure now that we have everything connected. Turn that air back on too. Let's clear it all out one more time. Clear all codes. One more time, we'll see what we come up with. I'm going to try to recalibrate the steering angle sensor real quick. It wants us to make sure the steering wheel is centered, which visually we are centered. Continue. I don't know why yeah, reset. Let's go ahead and reset that. Reset SAS, steering angle sensor 0 degrees, and 54. Okay, it's reading. The light is still on though. We do not have, actually it might be on because we're in the menu. It's back out. So it is reading. We do have steering angle sensor data, which means that sensor is telling the BCM what we're doing here. So let's clear those codes out one more time. It may have had the code because the recalibration had not yet been completed, and there we go, we got it. We do not need the extra $500 sensor. Beautiful. So we have horn. We have no airbag light. We have a door open light and a seatbelt light, which is fine. And we've also gotten rid of that business with the SAS. So going back into ABS codes, there was that P1117, I believe it was, something about the power supply relay or whatever to the pump module. However, with no steering angle sensor, that may have been disabled through the controller, which could have set the codes. Yeah, there's the code, steering angle sensor fault. I haven't cleared it since the relearn, so let's go ahead and clear. No communication, really. Key on, engine off. Sometimes you can get away with key on engine running regarding code sets or code clearing, but sometimes not. How you doing with that welder over there?
You want to see my boogers?
Are you burning holes through the exhaust?
No.
Okay. Oh, as long as you're not burning a hole through it, I don't care.
There's some ugly dimes.
It can be ugly. Believe me, it won't be any uglier than mine. I can guarantee you that. Key back off. Key back on. Let's see if that code is persistent or not. The light's still not there. Communicating. One moment, please. Come on. That light's horrible. Oh. All right. Code cleared. Recalibration complete. This thing is back together-ish. Horn works. No ABS light. And we didn't have to buy an extra $500 part. I'm calling this a win all day. We have successfully diagnosed and repaired 3 faults because of one component. I was wrong. I figured it was going to be more than one thing going on here, but that's that. So guys, anyway, the only thing we have to do now is put that bezel business back on, tighten up the battery terminal over there, and then this thing is good to go. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out right now. As always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. Since you're here to the end, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you didn't hate this video. If in fact you didn't hate it, that must mean you liked it. And if you did like it, please feel free to communicate that to me effectively by engaging the like button down below. YouTube requires user interaction for positive algorithm expansion. So that being said, guys, as always, thank you for subscribing and liking the channel. Thanks for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great day. End of video, end of Nissan repair, end of transmission.